These atheist materialists say that there exists only soulless matter. What is this, your matter? See a cherry, for example. Take away the cherry color, its tartness, astringency, and its rounded shape. What will become of the cherries now? If we have not seen them, have not tasted and touched them, there are no cherries. The same is about the real world. Take away our perceptions, and the world is gone. The man who put to doubt the idea that the world existed without our perception was George Berkeley. He was said to be fond of paradox and breaking rules. He was accused of solipsism, an extreme form of subjective idealism. But he was, first of all, a believer, and secondly, a philosopher. George Berkeley was born on March 12, 1685, in the Irish town of Thomastown, into the family of a nobleman of modest means. He graduated from the Trinity College in Dublin, where he gave preference to mathematics, languages, and philosophy. At the age of 19, the talented youth became a college tutor, and 3 years later he published anonymously his first scientific papers in mathematics. Being a student, the modest and religious youth realized that the knowledge of science was not only useful for people, but also posed a threat. Berkeley was conscious that Newton and his followers had given God a modest role of a watchmaker who once created and started the mechanism of the universe. And now God does not interfere either with nature or human activities. It turns out that science claims the place of God. And what about morals? What about religion? Berkeley, who became a priest, got down to work on the system of philosophy which would logically substantiate the existence of God. Berkeley wrote a treatise concerning the principles of human knowledge when he was only 25. George happened to have traveled a lot. He worked as a tutor in Italy and France, was a chaplain at the embassy at the court of the Sicilian king. In London, Jonathan Swift, charmed by Berkeley's wit, introduced him to the court as a rather interesting writer whose style was characterized by elegance and refinement. This is my room. Here lives a little mouse. I exist till I am perceived, at least by the little mouse. As for him, I perceive him, and even when we fall asleep, we do not vanish thanks to the constant attention of God, who is always on the vigil, sustaining our existence. Berkeley stated that the man was the main character in the perception of the world. Everything we see, hear, and feel around ourselves is called the real world. These are only images which God allows us to perceive. From the point of view of Berkeley, to be, to exist, means to perceive and be perceived. Esse est percipi. In 1721, Berkeley was appointed court priest and soon was made dean in the University of Derry. At the age of 43, he got married. He had 7 children, whom he took care of with love and affection. Berkeley's dream was not only to retain, but also to spread faith, to convert North American Indians into Christianity. Berkeley was planning a missionary school on the Bermuda Islands. Having received a certain sum of money, bequeathed to him by Swift's widow Vanessa, in 1728, the missionary set off to a colony of Newport. But 3 years later, having found himself without financial support of the government, Berkeley had to leave the Bermudas. On the threshold of his 50th birthday, Berkeley returned to his homeland, to South Ireland, and occupied the position of a bishop of the English Church. In his last work, Cyrus, A Chain of Philosophical Reflections, he made an attempt to unite philosophy, mysticism, and medicine. His contemporaries remembered Bishop Berkeley as a jolly man. He wrote humorous verses which he signed with his pen name, The Jolly Prelate. In the last years of his life, he developed an interest for tar water, about which he had come to know from Indians. Berkeley ascribed miraculous virtues to it, tried to treat the sick with it, and used the concoction regularly himself as a tonic, saying, "It makes you merry, but it does not intoxicate." To the doctors who were skeptical towards the healing water, Berkeley replied, "To drink or not to drink, that is the doubt. With pro and con the learned would make it out. Breton, drink on, the jolly prelate cries. What the prelate persuades the doctor denies. But why need the parties so learnedly fight, or choleric jurin so fiercely indict? Sure our senses can tell if the liquor be right." Strange as it may seem, nowadays Bishop Berkeley is remembered with gratitude not by theologists, but by physicists and mathematicians whom he had criticized. Berkeley's idea that the observer is an active participant of events whose impact on the results of the experiment is crucial became one of the basic principles of the quantum mechanics. When I run out of the room for a piece of cheese, Berkeley stops existing. When I return, he, for some reasons, emerges again. Strange, when Berkeley leaves the room, he for some reasons disappears, but I still exist.